The Browns Blitz is brought to you by BigPlay.com and Cleveland Sports Talk. Now here are your hosts, Rod Bloom and Sam Maddie.
Welcome to the Browns Blitz podcast. Today is April 2nd, 2019, and we are on episode 7. Rod, can you believe that we're on episode 7 already?
Man, time flies, doesn't it?
It's unbelievable. And, shout out to the people that got us over 500 followers today. That happened just right before we started recording earlier, late this afternoon. And so we want to thank all of our followers for that. This has been a lot of fun, and Rod and I both really enjoyed doing it. And we hope to continue to gain followers, and hope we are worth a listen to all Browns fans out there.
Yeah, definitely. We want to keep bringing you guys good content and keep it interesting. And we're always open to feedback and ideas for guests and that. So feel free to hit us up on that Browns Blitz Twitter account with any ideas for the show. We're always open to that.
Well, Rod, I'm going to take a second and I'm going to open up this beer. And I know it's not normal for me to drink beer, but it's the first thing that I saw, and it's been an extremely stressful last couple of days, so I will be drinking on this podcast today. So that is a first. It only took till episode 7 for me to start drinking.
Wow. Yeah, and it's not even what do you usually drink? I'm the beer guy.
Exactly. I'm drinking. I normally
You're the bourbon guy.
Bourbon or water, but I'm drinking beer. It's just that type of day.
Well, what kind of beer is it?
I don't even want to tell you. It's not even worth talking about. Just know that it's beer.
Okay.
Anyway,
I was pretty vocal on Twitter this week about buying some beer because a place by me is closing down shop. So I actually bought a lot of beer for my fridge, probably enough to get me through the summer because, like you and I talk, I like having a large selection, but I am not one to drink beer constantly. I drink 2 or 3 beers a week, especially when we're still kind of hanging around in the winter type months here, the way it feels. Might be a little bit more accelerated in the summertime, but it's kind of. Well, I was kind of wondering what you're drinking, but if you want to keep it quiet, we can do that.
You know what? The mountains are blue. Let's just put it that way.
Okay, I got you.
All right. Anyway, enough about my week. I've done enough complaining. How's your week been? How's everything with you? Any news coming from your world?
Well, I do have some news. I think it's pretty well out at this point, but it's my pleasure to have joined you with the folks at Big Play, and I mean that's big news for me. And I kind of floated this idea to you in a text, and I don't want to sound stupid here, but I kind of know what OBJ went through when he got that news about the trade. And again, I'm not going to make it sound like
he's already comparing himself to OBJ. Yeah, he hasn't even worked.
I knew you were going to say that, but yeah, as excited as I am about coming to Big Play, whenever there's a big change in your life, I was with Cleveland Sports Talk for 3.5 years. There's a lot of emotions. There's a little apprehension about stepping into a completely new role. So as excited as I am, and as much as I'm looking forward to the future, I understand where OBJ was coming from, where the first words out of his mouth when he was contacted weren't, just pure excitement at the idea of the trade. So that kind of just gives me another view. But I'm extremely excited to be working with you and to be joining everybody at Big Play. So it's really been a great week for me from that standpoint. I'm sorry to. I don't want to say sorry. It's real bittersweet to be leaving Cleveland Sports Talk. 3.5 years there, working with a lot of great people. I'll definitely be maintaining friendships with a lot of those people, and just very appreciative to everything that I learned there and everything that everybody at CST did for me and with me during my tenure there.
Good deal. Well, we are absolutely thrilled to have you, and we appreciate very much that CST was willing to let you go, and we promise that we'll do good by you, and look forward to working with you, and with great things to come for Big Play. So let's jump right in, guys. OBJ. I mean, should I say anything else? Odell Beckham Jr. It is official. He is a Brown. He was bombarded with stupid questions by Mary Kay Cabot and Tony Grossi. So he is officially a Brown. Thoughts on that presser?
I thought the players handled it very well. And like you said, a lot of the questions just, I mean, how many times can you just ask a guy, what is it like coming to Cleveland? How's Cleveland compared to New York, and all these things, and are there going to be enough footballs, and just a lot of just silly questions that I think you can see just by watching the guys. They really want to play together. I don't know if OBJ really looked totally excited all the time, but he sure did when he looked at his friends up there. So I think the vibe that you get from these guys is just really, really good. It's a kind of a mix of excitement, professionalism, and it's time to get down to business. So they're not here to party. They're not here thinking they've already won anything, but they're excited about the future. And I just thought it was a really good environment.
Yeah, I mean, how intimidating. He's sitting up there up front. You've got Myles Garrett, Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham Jr., and Baker Mayfield. I mean, and, Baker said it, excuse me, it was the most crowded that room has ever been. So I honestly, I don't think it was just crowded because OBJ's there. I think it was crowded because people know that the Browns are real. This is the real deal. And we are going to be elite contenders now, and everybody knows it. So that's why I feel like not only because of OBJ's presence, but also because everybody knows that the Browns this year are going to be ones to watch out for. So
yeah, I think you're right. I think there's going to be a lot more national presence at these things versus people just kind of expecting the Browns to be the Browns.
Right.
If I can say that expression is not going to be around much longer, Sam.
And also, I don't know if you got to see it. The way that Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry looked at each other, it was just unreal. And there was a couple times where I thought Jarvis was going to cry, because he's just so happy. You got to think about how crazy this is, seeing that Nike commercial that they put out. These were two best friends growing up as kids. They played at different high schools. Then they both were getting recruited out of high school. They decided to go to the same place at LSU. And then they both got drafted in the same round to different teams. Jarvis to Miami Dolphins, and then obviously Odell to the Giants. And here they are now playing on the same team. It's just absolutely unthinkable and unheard of. But really, the articles that came out today, everybody was talking about, it really started with them.
It did. I think I think it was OBJ who said they spoke it into existence.
Right.
And I think they did. They kind of made it happen. And yeah, I mean, to put yourself in their position to just imagine being able to do that with somebody that you're so close to. It's hard to imagine reaching a pinnacle and being able to do it with somebody that you are that close to, just care that much about. So you just have to just sit back and just marvel at how much those guys are going to enjoy playing together, and just how great a thing it's going to be for those guys.
And any questions that I think anybody had in regards to, there's two big name wear their emotions on their sleeves guys are going to have issues when they're not getting the ball from Baker. Well, any questions that I had seeing that yesterday about how emotional and how excited they were to play with each other, completely gone. I'm not even worried about it because, just hearing how one another were always giving each other the glory, always, giving each other, no, it was you, man. No, it was you that started the one-handed catch. I don't think that's going to be a problem. And in the end, these guys just want to win. They want to bring a championship to Cleveland, and that's their goal. They don't care. And I saw that, and I don't think that we're going to have much issues like everybody anticipated with Odell Beckham in the locker room.
Yeah, and I had those same questions, and I liked how when that question was posed, and it was really posed, I think, to Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham Jr., and Baker's the one who jumped in and answered it. So these guys are all on the same page, and Baker knows what he has in these two guys, and I don't know how many times we can say it, but it's just going to be fun to watch.
Right.
To watch these guys, and it's not like these guys are the only three offensive weapons that we have on the Browns either.
Hey, yeah. Yeah, and even, there was times where Baker would be talking and you would see Odell in the background and he was just smirking because he knows what kind of quarterback and what kind of player Baker is, and he doesn't have to worry about Eli Manning making him catch those one-handed catches because he knows that Baker's dialed in and he's going to put it right between the numbers. So super excited, great presser. We all waited for it, for ever since the trade went down, but fans, it is official. Odell Beckham is a member of the Cleveland Browns. So, jumping next, we've got some players were released yesterday as well with the start of that. What do we even call it, Rod? The
OTAs.
There you go, OTAs. But then, yeah. So, Derek Kindred, safety, was one. Cornerback Howard Wilson. And wide receiver Ricardo Louis. Which ones really stumped you, Rod?
And Derek Kindred, he was like the only strong safety on the roster at the time. So how do you let him go? I think everybody thought he was going to be the starter when Peppers left. Seeing as how we went through this period of time and we haven't seen a signing of Eric Berry or anybody else to come in and be the starter. So when Kindred got let go, it's like, okay, we know something else is going to happen, but what's going to happen? I think we really expected him to be either the number one or the number two strong safety on this team. So when he left, it's like all of a sudden there's not a strong safety on the entire roster. Ricardo Louis, I thought he might get a chance to compete, but when you look at this wide receiver room and just knowing that he's from a prior regime, he really would have had to have really balled out to even have a shot at making this roster. And I think the Browns just did him a favor to let him go to see if he can catch on with somebody else. Howard Wilson, it just breaks my heart. The guy never even got a chance to play due to injuries. So the only thing I can figure there is he's probably either hasn't recovered properly, lost something through the injuries, or maybe he's still fighting something. Go ahead.
No, with Howard Wilson, it's like, I wish him nothing but the best because he came out of college with really high expectations, and I really thought that he was going to be able to be a contributor. But I think it's just because, you mentioned that he was part of an old regime, but then also that we haven't got anything out from him, and he's just been taking up a spot. So, we're ready to move on. And, Howard Wilson, if you somehow catch this podcast, we wish you nothing but the best here from the Browns Blitz. Everything else you really nailed. Derek Kindred, it definitely surprised me because I was like, well, holy shit, now we don't have anybody. And then my Twitter blew up, and they're like, Trey Boston, Eric Berry, and I got nothing. So I didn't know what was going on. But then, of course, John Dorsey and brings us into our next topic, which is Emmanuel Ogbah was traded for safety Eric Murray from the Kansas City Chiefs. Rod, what do you know about Eric Murray?
Well, I think he started, I believe 9 games last season for Kansas City. He's I think he's a guy who's going to come in and compete. He's not going to be a guy who would normally be given a starting position, especially on a team of, I'm going to say this, the stature of the Cleveland Browns at this point. So he's not the biggest guy for a strong safety. He's like 5'11", 199. I think he's got one pick in 3 seasons. He's got seven passes defense. He's got a good number of tackles. He's not the fastest guy. He's a big hitter. So, maybe he's a guy that fits in well with the defense that the Browns are going to play, but you have to figure that he's a guy who's going to compete for a spot and or playing time on this team. He's not going to be handed anything. So the question is, who's he going to compete with? Is John Dorsey going to sign somebody else? Is he going to trade for somebody else, or is he going to draft at least one strong safety in the upcoming draft? There's definitely more cards to be played at the strong safety position.
Yeah, I have no idea. And then you and I had a conversation earlier on the phone today. Trey Boston, is that something that could still be a possibility? I don't know. I don't think it's going to. I really think that we're going to address and give Eric Murray some competition through the draft. So we'll just have to see what John Dorsey has in store. But yeah, Eric Murray, I had never heard of him. He was a 4th-round pick in 2016 by Kansas City. Obviously, there's ties there with John Dorsey, so we'll just have to see what happens. He came out of Minnesota, so a Big Ten guy. But, yeah, we'll just have to see what happens. There's definitely still a hole there at safety, but I don't think it'll go ignored by any means. So,
no, the Trey Boston talk, I kind of feel like something would have happened there already, but the longer he hangs out there, I guess there's a possibility somebody's going to get him on the cheap side. Yeah. So you just don't know, especially if he's still hanging out there as you get closer to the draft or afterwards. So you never know what'll happen.
Right.
But yeah, it's going to be addressed somehow.
Well, that wasn't the only news from Browns organization with Ogbah trade. Ogbah didn't even show up to the OTAs, and he wasn't the only one. Duke Johnson also did not, because amid the trade rumors that are going on. And in fact, Duke Johnson's agents have let the Browns know that he has, in fact, requested a trade. So, here we are. We've even talked about it multiple times on this podcast. But Duke Johnson does, in fact, want to be traded from the Cleveland Browns. What are your thoughts?
There are so many sides to this. I put a tweet out last night, and I've been getting feedback on this from all directions, pretty much nonstop ever since. My tweet said Duke wants to leave Cleveland, and then I put the quote that he put out about close to a year and a half ago now, saying that he wanted to retire as a Brown. I said, so what's up with that? And I understand that was a different time. But still, if you love it in Cleveland, my question or my issue really is with the timing. What's changed now that wasn't in effect when the Browns signed Kareem Hunt a while back? I just don't like the timing. I know that Duke is concerned about his playing time, and he would like to probably be the man somewhere, but Sam, I feel like there's just something amiss with Duke Johnson. Okay? He's never been the starter. Everybody likes Duke because Duke flashes when he plays.
Right.
Okay? He's fantastic catching the ball. Even out of the backfield, he manages on a small sample size to average around 5 yards a pop on carries. He's a good player. Okay. But he hasn't had a chance to get a lot of carries through how many different coaches, offensive coordinators now. So for me, something is up, because if you have a really good player there's a reason why the guy's not getting touches. And I'm going to say this. I applaud the Browns organization for not making that public, whatever it is. I think there's a reason. And I'm not saying this to slam Duke. I mean, maybe he may be a great guy, but there must be some kind of concern. Maybe it's simply durability. Maybe it's not that he's a problem of any kind, but maybe they're just worried about his durability. He's had some injuries in the past in that. So I don't know. But overall, I understand he wants a chance to play more, but I really wish that his timing would have been different. He just signed a new contract not long ago. I know it was under a different regime, but everybody else or a lot of other players are trying to get into Cleveland. Duke's trying to get out. So I have a little bit of an issue with it, but my thought is that Duke's probably going to get traded. Maybe it'll be for a player, maybe it'll be for another strong safety. And I think Dorsey will probably pick up another running back in the 5th or 6th round in the draft, or sign an unrestricted free agent to be another one of the backups.
Right. Well, yeah, it's very strange, but I got to respect him. I was hoping that he would want to fill that 8-game, hole that we were going to have with Hunt not being available till week 9, but obviously that's not the case. And like you said, maybe he just really is wanting his time to shine. So, there's 3 teams that have that it's been made known that are interested in Duke. That's the New York Jets, the Philadelphia Eagles, and the Houston Texans. Also, I kind of been lingering is the Dallas Cowboys. But it's weird though to think though what we would get back for him, because Jordan Howard just got traded to the Eagles from the Bears for a 6th rounder. And I'm not going to get the whole argument about who's better between Duke Johnson and Jordan Howard, but I mean, that being said, a 6th round pick. So, people are like, well, I think we could get a 2nd or a 3rd. Well, I think you're nuts. There's no way
that's not going to happen, guys.
You're going to get a 2nd or 3rd round pick for Duke Johnson. I think we would be extremely lucky to get a 5th round pick, let alone I think it would be right up there where we'll probably get a 6th or a 7th. So we'll just have to see what happens. I do believe that John Dorsey will add another back during the draft in the later rounds, but definitely strange and came out of nowhere. But at the same time, I'm not too surprised. I think we can both agree with that. We're not surprised by this, but maybe didn't expect it so right now, because he could have really played well in Kareem Hunt's absence and built up his stats a little bit, and then maybe we could have got higher for him. But no, he just wants to give in before the season starts. So best of luck to you, Duke Johnson, and we'll have to see what happens on that front. Well, Rod, we've got a special guest on our show tonight. Did you happen to see the video when the OBJ trade went down of a grown man crying on his couch? Did you see that?
I did see that, Sam.
I couldn't believe it, but you know what? I have no judgment, I didn't cry, but I wanted to. I'm almost upset that I didn't cry. You know what I mean?
I understand it. I have gotten emotional at sporting events with the Cavs championship, and actually I came real close with the Indians World Series.
Okay. That being said, Browns fans, we have Ryan Mosser in person with us on the Browns Blitz podcast, and we are happy to have you. Ryan, how you doing, my friend?
I'm good, man. Happy to be here. Appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, we definitely wanted to have you on and talk about what was going on in your head and just different, everything that was going on during that time. And your wife, she just happened to have her phone and wanted to embarrass you.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you went viral, so it's not a bad thing. So, Ryan, kind of give us a real quick background on your history about being a Browns fan, and we'll kind of go from there.
I've been a Browns fan all my life. I'm 27. I wasn't super into it before '99. I was, obviously a child, but I just didn't understand why my team just randomly left. now looking back on it, now I'm older, with Modell and all that crap that went on. Then the Browns came back and I was full force. I was in. I was so excited to have my team back, and I've just been diehard ever since, man. So, it's just crazy the journey that we've been on as Browns fans. So,
I can definitely agree with that, Rod.
Yeah. I mean, diehard is it's pretty much how Cleveland fans are. I think most people are not kind of 1 foot in and 1 foot out.
Yeah, definitely.
Ryan, who as a child, who was your biggest who was your favorite Browns player?
99 I really liked, Tim Couch coming out. I guess really the only player back in, the old times, well, not old times for me at least, not for you guys with the cardiac kids. I unfortunately wasn't around to experience that. I really like Jameer Miller.
How old do you think I am, damn it?
Hey man, dude, I don't I don't know. I'm not going to play that game.
Tell us about the olden days, Sam.
Golly, I'm freaking 30.
Oh, well, there you go. All right. That's
golly. All right, anyway, keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, I like Jameer Miller. He's a linebacker for the Browns. He's probably pretty much the only person who was worth watching back in the early 2000s. I guess 2001 is when he went to the Pro Bowl. So.
All right. Well, let's just dive right in. So, where were you? What was going on? Give us the play-by-play of when you heard that Odell Beckham was being traded to the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, so I was at my house, just sitting on the couch with my wife. I'm always on Twitter. Small plug, Dynasty Clee. I love just having a Browns Twitter, and in that Browns Twitter community is so much fun. So I'm constantly refreshing. I'm hearing, rumblings and grumblings. And obviously for the past couple weeks before that, there was always like, oh, Odell's coming, then he's not, then he is. And just like the cryptic tweets from, him and some other people in, the Browns organization, or I guess just journalists and things like that. But when that hit and it was reported and, they said, this is not a joke, man. I just, I look back to just 2 years ago where we had the undefeated season, undefeated as in losses. We were just the worst of the worst, one of the worst teams to ever be assembled. And now with the addition of Odell and, just with the swagger of Baker and just the change of the dynamic of the team in general, it just brought tears to my eyes, man. Odell is one, debatably a top 4, top 5 wide receiver in the NFL, depending on who you talk to. And yeah, he's a character, but man, that dude's a baller. And he's got a quarterback in Baker, and he's got, he gets double teamed. We got Jarvis, we got Njoku, we got Higgins. We have, they take guys out of the box, and we got Chubb running on their throat, and Kareem Hunt. And it's so excited to be a Browns fan right now. So
you were at home, correct?
Yep.
And then was your wife sitting next to you, or did she just come up on you crying?
No, yeah, she was sitting next to me. It was literally just a spur of the moment. Like I looked at Twitter, saw it, and just I started breaking down, man. I mean, it is what it is. I was really embarrassed at first. I was, she recorded it. She was kind of making fun of me. I don't want to say patronizing, but she was making fun of me. But she understands a little bit of, my pain and sorrow as being a Browns fan just by, being with me the past 6 years. But, yeah, she had her phone out and she was recording and, talking to me and stuff. And I didn't want to be on the camera, obviously. That's embarrassing, especially, in this world where everyone has to be, masculinity is the key for men. So, but then, ESPN picked it up and SportsCenter asked if they could post it, and they started doing that, and I just rolled with it, man. It is what it is. I'm passionate. I have no shame anymore. So
that everybody, Ryan Mosser has no shame about crying. So there it is, right there.
That's not a bad thing, Ryan. Don't worry about it.
I appreciate it.
So how has it changed your life so far? I mean, obviously that's kind of a silly question, but at the same time, here you are on a podcast, and ESPN and all those other places places were reaching out to you. So how has it changed, your daily life, or has it?
It hasn't really changed significantly. Like I said, I was just doing the Browns Twitter as a hobby originally, but probably since, 22 days since then, 2-3 weeks, I've gained maybe about 1,000 more followers on Twitter, which is awesome. Appreciate everyone following me.
Awesome.
What's that?
I said that's awesome. Well, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
It's good.
A couple, like Phil Taylor tweeted it out and said, this is a true Browns fan, a true fan. CJ McCollum, he tweeted it out.
Wow. Cool.
Yes, so that's pretty cool.
Nice. Awesome. Did any other did any of the Browns players reach out to you at all in your DMs or anything like that, or no?
No.
Okay. All right. Rod, do you have any questions for Ryan? True fan.
Well, how many games do you go to typically, Ryan?
I haven't been to too many in the last couple of years just because I was recently just started doing full-time in my profession, but actually just left that. So now I'm looking to go to a lot more because I work freelance. So hopefully try to get to at least 4 or 5 home games. That'd be sweet.
Gotcha. So you live right in Cleveland?
No, I'm about 45 minutes south of Cleveland.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, and if we could get a way too early bold prediction for a record for the Browns for this season, what are you going with?
Man, dude, I'm a Browns. I talk with my heart with the Browns, man. Not necessarily with my brains. When we got Johnny Manziel, I thought we were going to the Super Bowl. So yeah, I don't know if I'm the best guy. I mean, realistically, I don't think it's out of question to think at least wild card. I think we are the best team in the division. I just got to see how we mesh. I'm just trying to be really realistically. But, I think we have, one of the top 5 rankings to possibly go to the Super Bowl from Vegas. So that's really exciting. So,
Ryan, everything I cannot get out of my head what you just said about Johnny Manziel taking us to the Super Bowl. So everything that you just said now is just down the shitter. So,
hey, man, him coming out of college, he was obviously a stud in college. He had the swagger. I didn't know necessarily his personality. I didn't know him off the field. Obviously, he's got his own struggles and demons and never panned out. But, man, it's Brownstown. We got Baker now. We got Odell. It doesn't matter.
Johnny Manziel is so good that he completely shut down the AAF today.
Yep, he did.
That's how awesome he is. So, anyway, let's jump into some Twitter questions real quick before we hop off here. Ryan, please give us your best answers on these, not regarding Johnny Manziel, please.
Yeah, right, definitely.
First question we have is from BP_sports talk, and the question is, what's more likely to happen, kind of regarding the last scenario Rod asked you, Browns getting a wild card or winning the division? Ryan, go ahead and start us off.
Wow. Like I said, realistically, I don't think it's out of question to at least expect wild card. This on paper, everyone says on paper, is a playoff team, so we should look towards the playoffs. But top 3 AFC teams right now are the Patriots, the Chiefs, and the Browns, I would believe, and it looks like they're losing pieces and we're gaining them, man. So,
all right, Rod.
That's a tough question. It really is. I think the other divisions kind of all have teams that are kind of clearly at the top. And the North, I think we feel like the Browns are the favorite, but we'll see how it goes. I kind of feel like it's almost a toss-up. But to me, I think the Browns have a good shot at winning the division. I think to win a wild card, though, I think the wild card records in the AFC are not going to be tremendous this season. That would be my guess. So I think it could honestly be a similar record could get them either one. 10-6, 9-7 could win the division or get a wild card.
Well, I'm saying we're going to win the North, and then we are also going to end up playing in the AFC Championship against the Chiefs. I feel like it's already. I feel like it's just it's just meant to happen. John Dorsey is meant to face his old team.
That'd be something.
Viewers that game for the AFC Championship will be just off the chart. So, yes, I think that we will win the AFC North and also be playing in the AFC Championship. So, guys, next question we have from JP Rice, but his his handle is Althea_4017, and it says, who would you like to see our first pick in the draft be, providing that full Dorse doesn't flip the script and move back into the first, of course? So I guess what he's asking is, who would we like to see with our first pick in the draft, as it sits right now with us just not having a first round pick?
You want me or Rod?
Go ahead. Yeah, Ryan.
Okay. Yeah. I really like. I don't know if he'll be there, but Byron Murphy, the cornerback out of Washington.
Yes.
The kid's a stud.
Yes.
He's a baller, and I think him pairing up with Ward would be great.
Oh, yes.
If he's not there, I like the prospect and Rocky Sin from Temple, but I really, really like Byron Murphy. So
you've been listening to the show because I've been on that for the last 3 weeks.
Yep.
Yeah, I think you're right on target. There's some depth in the cornerback class. I don't have a specific guy beyond Byron Murphy, but I could definitely see him going corner. We'll see what happens at strong safety, though.
Yeah.
They may, especially if they don't add anybody else, that may be more of a priority to take a strong safety to come in and compete with Eric Murray. But aside from that, I would love to see him take a corner with that first pick.
Yeah, that's what I think as well. Next question we have is from Vintage Browns. Shout out to you. We have, the question is, what role do you see Kareem Hunt in this season once he returns in Week 9? Ryan.
Honestly, I could see him more of like an Alvin Kamara role. I think that Nick Chubb has solidified definitely the starting running back role. But with that, the dude's dynamic. Last year before that, he was one of the best in the NFL, and I think he has to earn the trust of the team and earn the trust of the NFL, but I think he will, and as long as he's allowed to be in the organization while he's under suspension and stuff like that, I think he'll do just fine. So,
well, it's going to be interesting because Nick Chubb's going to probably get quite a few carries through weeks 8, through the first 8 games, and even into those first couple games with Hunt back as he gets into game shape. So I think you'll see more of a split and probably carries slide a little bit more Hunt's direction as we get later in the season, just to take a load off of Nick Chubb, just to kind of you have to be realistic. How many carries do you want your back to have over the course of a season? So I definitely think we'll see Hunt carry more of the load more and more as the season progresses, starting with week 11 or so on. But I think by the time we get to week 11, I think Nick Chubb's probably right around 1,000 yards anyways.
I'm right there too. I think that I definitely think that both will be 1,000-yard rushers, but I think since Kareem Hunt is fresh, then we'll probably see more of him. But then, like you said, Rod, in a split role. But at the same time, you never know what's going to happen due to injury. So,
true.
God forbid that Nick Chubb get hurt. But that would put Kareem Hunt, just waiting to be the number one guy coming right out of suspension week 9. So. We'll just have to see what happens. Those are a long 8 weeks. You know what I mean? So, we'll see. We gained some other questions while we were recording. We'll just kind of go through these real quick. We've got one from @GGarber, and he says, "Do you think we'll go 0-4 in the preseason?"
It doesn't matter. Ideally, I would like our players not even to play our starters. Odell got hurt against the Browns in preseason, was out for a while. I think it was Brandon Body Calhoun that tackled him low. So, I mean, preseason doesn't matter. You know, we can be preseason champs. We've been preseason champs before. It doesn't mean anything. It's just the regular season for me. So,
Right. Rod?
I would love to go 0-4 with 0 being 0 injuries and 4 being 4 games completed. I don't care about the record.
Yeah. Great answer. Next question we have at Flamey Marciano. If Duke does get shipped, do we try and get the third back we gave up for OBJ, or do you think we should trade for position depth? Ryan?
I personally, I really like Darren Lee out of the Jets. I know the Jets are interested in Duke Johnson, and I heard that they're possibly looking to ship him. So I would like to go for depth. I think linebacker is definitely a position of need. It's not the number one anymore. I thought it was for a while until we got rid of Kindred. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. The Eagles are there too, and I think they're looking to give away a pick. But I heard like a 5th round pick from them. So I don't know. I think position player.
If they could swing Darren Lee in any way, then I would be more than happy to see that happen with Duke Johnson. But you have to be realistic. The Browns aren't going to get any more than a 5th or 6th round pick for Duke Johnson. They don't need more picks this season. I'd almost be surprised if Dorsey takes a 2019 5th or 6th round pick. I would almost expect him to take like a 4th round 2020 pick at this point, because he doesn't want to bring in, what do they have? 8? I'm trying to think, 8 or 9 picks still at this point. They're not bringing that many guys into camp. So he's going to move up a little bit. He doesn't need a ton more picks. So I think he's either going to try to do a position, a trade to obtain another position player, linebacker, corner, strong safety, or I could see him trading for a future pick.
Yeah, and going off of that, I mean, just because he requested that we trade him doesn't necessarily mean that we absolutely have to. I mean, the guy's a baller. He's a fantastic depth guy. You can put him out in the slot, and I mean, is a 6th round pick worth more than Duke Johnson for our team? I don't think so. So,
yeah, that's a great point, Ryan. Good thing. Last question we have is from Northwest Ohio B-Ball, and it asks us, is anyone in the front office or the staff concerned that OBJ had issues in New York? Is everyone too optimistic?
I don't think so. I mean, obviously he has personality, but I mean, we knew what we got into when we traded for Odell. I mean, he's a star receiver and he's got personality. And by all reports from teammates and things like that I've read, he's been great in the locker room. Yeah, he's dramatic on the field or, with the soccer net issue. But, I mean, he's there for his team. He's passionate. And as long as he performs on the field and, does well, I don't think it matters. So.
Yeah, Sam, we talked about this earlier. I think any of our concerns are pretty much taken care of. The only thing that caught me a little off was when his contract came up in the press conference, and he kind of look on his face like, I kind of wish you wouldn't have said that kind of thing. So I don't think it'll be an issue, but I think the contract is the only thing that could potentially come up. I don't think there's going to be any issues with his play, though, and the way he fits in.
And I agree with you as well, Rod. Ryan, thanks a lot for coming on the podcast, man, and thanks also for being a true fan and not being afraid to show your emotions. And it's absolutely the best time to be a Browns fan, and I myself, really, really look forward to this upcoming season. I wish it was tomorrow.
Right.
Guys, go out there and follow Ryan at Dynasty Clee. He's got some great stuff on his Twitter page, so make sure to follow him. It's been a pleasure again. Looking forward to next week on episode 8. And thanks for tuning in, and thanks for getting us to that 500 followers as well. So, as always, thanks for the support, and we will talk to you all next week.